win. I think it's time to elect Juan Pablo Segura. I think it's time to elect Gary Higgins. I think it's time to elect Paul Lott. Folks, I think it's time to elect a new school board. We got work to do, and we know that work is going to be done tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got work to do, and that is to get everybody here who hasn't voted out to vote. Everybody here who has voted, get 10 friends, and let's hold our house and flip our Senate. Hold our house, flip our Senate. Hold our house, flip our Senate. That's the work we got to do. Folks, we can see it happening again. The spirit of Virginia is flowing across the Commonwealth. Everywhere we've been, we have seen people ready to hold the House and flip the Senate, and hold the House and flip the Senate, and elect a new school board in Loudoun County. Folks, we know how to do this. The spirit reawoke in 2021, the spirit of Virginia that had been trampled down, the spirit of freedom and liberty, of unbridled opportunity, arose the spirit of our founders. God, by the way, hey, thanks for hiring me. Thanks for hiring me. Every day I go to work, it is such a privilege every single day. Thank you for hiring our great Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Earl Sears. Thank you for hiring our great Attorney General, Jason Miyares. Thank you for hiring a majority in our House of Delegates. And what we're going to do tomorrow is rehire and hold our House and flip our Senate. And hold our House and flip our Senate. And hold our House and flip our Senate. That's what we're going to get done. Folks, 2021 was amazing because came together not as Republicans versus Democrats, but as Virginians. That was better. We came together not as Republicans versus Democrats, but as Virginians. And we locked arms and we said, no more. No more are we going to make parents stand outside of the room. We're going to put them at the head of the table in charge of our children's lives. No more are we going to demean and demoralize law enforcement. We're going to back the blue. No more. No more are we going to treat the people's money like it's the government's money. No more. And no more are we going to allow government to tell everybody what to do, because guess what? Government works for you, not the other way around. And boy, did we get to work. Right out of the box, we started in Virginia that was coming from so far away. We were bottom third in the nation in job growth. We were 44th in the nation in getting our kids back in the classroom. We were at a 20-year high in murder rate. And people were moving away faster than they were moving here from the other 49 states because they didn't believe in the future of Virginia then. Well, guess what? Things changed dramatically when we went to work on January 15, 2022. First of all, I promised you $5 billion of tax relief, and guess what? When I signed that budget in September, $5 billion in tax relief, because it is your money. $2,200 for the typical Virginia family. And God bless our vets. If you're a vet, raise your hand in here. Look at you. God bless you. God bless you. We no longer tax our veterans' retirement up to $40,000. And let me tell you, in Virginia, we serve those that serve us. Let's go. Let's hear it. By the way, who's gotten your tax refund? Now we're talking. It's your money. By the way, those are the folks that filed early. Those of you that were slow, you're at the end of the line. File your taxes early. But that up to $200 for individuals, up to $400 for those filing jointly, that's your money. We're coming back to you for it. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, away. We went to work right away, putting parents back at the head of the table. No day will be more vividly held in my mind than when I sat on those steps in our Capitol and I signed that bill that said that parents will decide if your child wears a mask in school. Folks, children belong to parents, not to the state. We went to work right away and we said, yes, teachers work hard. They deserve a raise. 12% raises in 18 months. And now we have choice throughout our public school system with lab schools, with tax-driven scholarships. If you can't afford to get out of the public schools, you can get a scholarship. Folks, we now have an education system that is also focused on catching our kids back up from the learning loss caused by all the bad decisions and keeping schools closed for too long. Intensive tutoring that parents don't pay $1 for. 3rd through 8th graders, 3 to 5 hours a week, catching up in math, catching up in reading, and not just getting to where they should be, but getting ahead because they are the future of America and they deserve an excellent education. Full stop. We went to work back in the blue, $400 million in raises and equipment and training, but one fundamental statement. We back the blue because they back us. God bless them. And finally, friends, I found out something that I know all of you knew. Government can be run really inefficiently. We'd been there for 4 months. We found $1.2 billion that had been appropriated that didn't need to be spent. And the next year we found $1.6 billion that had been appropriated that didn't need to be spent. That's taxpayer relief. That's money that's set aside to make sure that we, in fact, get the money back to you because it is your money. It is your money. And we have so much more work to do. We've got to completely transform our behavioral health system so that Virginians can get the help they need the day they need it, not next week, not next month, not next year, but the day they need it because you deserve it. Right help, right now, and that's the day you need it. Folks, we can do this. We can do this. And how do I know that common sense conservative policies work? Because during this 22-month period, we went from bottom 3rd in the nation in job growth to number 3 in the nation in job growth. Number 3. 230,000 more Virginians working today than just 22 months ago. All those folks that Joe Biden paid to stay home, they're back working now. They're back working because there's dignity in work, and Virginia is leading the way. And how else do I know? Because for the first time in 10 years, more people are moving here than moving away because the Virginia dream, the Virginia promise is bringing people in from all over the nation. And by the way, I'm sorry if you're in the U-Haul dealer business because it's no longer a good business. Nobody's renting U-Hauls and leaving Virginia. They're just coming here and leaving them on your lot. Folks want to be in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Folks, common sense conservative policies work. We know this. And yet every single day, the progressive left in control of our Senate tries to stop it. And we see it every single day. How do I know? Listen, back in December, we were running a $3.6 billion surplus. How about this math? You lower taxes, more people work, more people come. They, in fact, provide more receipts to the government, which lets us lower taxes again and invest in education and behavioral health and in law enforcement. And, oh, by the way, we can do it again and again and again. We were running a $3.6 billion surplus. And I put in a budget amendment that said $1 billion of that goes back to taxpayers. And the progressive left in the Senate came in with their budget amendment, and guess what? 0 in tax relief. They want to spend all of it because they think it is their money. I know it's your money. And that budget that I signed had $1 billion in tax relief for Virginians because it's your money. Listen, I told you one of my biggest concerns is about the mental health and behavioral health of our Virginians, and particularly our kids. Listen to we know what they did to us. They closed our churches and houses of worship. They shut our schools. They closed businesses. They told people to stay at home. They even told our young ones that if they visited grandma, they might in fact cause her to die. This is what they burdened our children with. And today I am deeply, deeply concerned of the role that the social media companies are playing in the mental health of our kids. And so I put in a bill this past January that said, social media companies, hands off our kids. Hands off our kids. This bill was real straightforward. It said if you're under the age of 18, the social media companies can harvest and gather and sell the data of our children to protect our kids. Of course, what did the progressive left that control the Senate do? They voted down that bill because they voted for social media companies on top of our children. On top of our children. Do we need to remind you again and again that they really believe that the children belong to the state and not to families? That's what they believe. They say it again and again and again. Folks, we in fact have to stand up for our kids. We know this. We have to stand up for our kids when they are suffering from fentanyl overdoses at schools in Loudoun County. And we have to make sure that our school board tells parents what's happening in our schools. Full stop. Full stop. I'm so concerned about the illegal flow of drugs, and particularly fentanyl, into Virginia. We know where it's coming from. We have a wide open, porous border as a failure of foreign policy on behalf of Joe Biden. And what's happening is those drugs are flowing into Virginia, turning every single state into a border state. On average, 5 Virginians die a day from fentanyl overdoses. And yes, we just saw 9 kids overdose in one school in Loudoun County. And thank God, thank the Lord that none of them died. 3 of them had to be administered with Narcan, 2 with CPR. This is a crisis. And so, of course, I put in a bill last January, and that bill says that if you are a drug dealer and you deal drugs to somebody who dies, you will be charged with a felony homicide and you will go to jail for a long, long, long time. Of course, what does the liberal left control in the Senate do? They block that bill. Why? Because they vote for drug dealers over victims. And consistently, they demonstrate the fact that they care about the criminals more than the victims, which is why on day one, I had to fire the entire parole board and start all over again in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Folks, there's one thing I deeply believe. I believe you make decisions about your life. You are much better to make decisions about your money that you work hard for. Therefore, I want you to keep more of it. You are much better positioned to decide what happens to your child because you are their parent and they belong to you, not to the state. And let me tell you, you are in a much better decision to decide what car you drive than the California bureaucrats that they put in charge. We know what happened in the darkened night in the last administration with the last governor. They passed a bill that said that Virginians don't get to decide what car you drive. In fact, they're going to make us follow mandates from California that only so many cars can be sold of this kind and this many have to be sold of that kind. I agree. Listen, if you want to buy an EV, go for it. Just don't drive it very far. That's your decision, and it should not belong to bureaucrats in California. And hear me clearly right now. As long as I am governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Virginia will never be California. Ever, ever, ever. So we got to get this done. Because the spirit of Virginia is alive and well, and it's been flowing across the Commonwealth. And I think the Parents Matter movement, which started right here in Loudoun County, has spread across the entire country. This spirit of Virginia is alive and well, and we have got to reinforce it again tomorrow by hold the House, flip the Senate. Hold the House and flip the Senate. We know how to do this. We learned in 2021 how to win elections. How do you win elections? Get more votes than the other guy. That's how you win elections. And that's exactly what we're going to do tomorrow. We are going to win tomorrow because we are going to take this last step and get the vote out. And I have 5 things to ask of you. 5, not 10, but 5. Number 1, if you haven't donated to one of these candidates' campaigns, please do. $5, $15, $25. Why? Because what the other side has been doing is getting billionaires from places that you don't even know to come in and dump money in for their opponents who do nothing but tell lies. Nothing. you can't help but watch these ads and shake your head because they say things that are so untrue, so dishonest, so much a factor of untruths that sometimes you just shake your head and you say, you're going to have to deal with the Almighty on that one because what you're doing is wrong. But we have to fight back and tell the truth. We are the party of hope. We are the party of low taxes. We are the party of small business. We are the party of unbridled opportunity. We are the party that makes sure that parents have rights to make decisions for their children. We are the party that backs the blue. We are the party that will make sure every Virginian gets the right help right now. We are the party that makes sure this generation will inherit a better Virginia tomorrow. We are the party of hope. They are the party of fear. That's all they have. They don't know how to create jobs. They don't know how to make neighborhoods safe. They don't know how to raise expectations in school. They don't know how to stand up for parents. They have no idea how to run government. They are the party of fear because that's all they know. And it is fear versus hope. And listen to me. Hope beats fear every single day of the week. Hope beats fear. Hope beats fear. Hope beats fear. This is what's on the ballot. But we need to make sure these folks can finish tomorrow by fighting all the way through to the finish line. Second thing is we still need volunteers at the precincts tomorrow. We need people who will volunteer to come out and hand out sample ballots. Because it is so important when somebody walks up for you to walk up to them with a smile on your face, a happy Republican, and we say, hey, this is the sample ballot of hope. This is the ballot of common sense, and this is the ballot for the future. That one is the ballot of fear. Choose hope over fear. We need volunteers tomorrow. We need volunteers. We need volunteers. Third thing I need you to make sure you do is I want everybody to get a sign in your yard if you do not have one. People are driving to the polls tomorrow, and I want them to drive by your house and say, oh, Juan Pablo Segura for Virginia. I'm going to vote for him because I saw the sign. I want him to see the Gary Higgins sign and say, oh, Gary Higgins, I'm going to vote for him. I want him to see the Rafi Kaja sign and say, hey, I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to want him to re-elect Wirt sign. Folks, these signs matter. That's how we win. Number 4. Who's voted early again? If you have not voted, number 4 is get your butt out there and vote. Come on now. Listen, there's nothing more important than showing up and voting. In 2021, 500,000 people voted for Jason, Winsome, and me that did not even show up and vote in the 2022 congressional midterms. 500,000. Get out and vote, and then every one of you is responsible to bringing 10 friends. 10 friends, write their name down on a pad of paper, Bill, Mary, Sally, Joey, Ron, and then call them tonight. Have you voted? If they say no, carpool. Pick them up in your car. Take them to vote. Folks, when Republicans vote, Republicans win, and we have got to hold the House and flip the Senate. Hold the House and flip the Senate. Finally, number 5. I don't know where all of you are in your own prayer life, but if you have one, pray for these candidates and pray for their families. What they're saying about them is unbelievable. It is all lies. We know that hope beats fear. We know that light invades dark. We know that truth invades falsehood, but we got to pray for them. Pray for a hedge of protection around them and their families. And then tomorrow evening, they will deliver victory. Folks, it's really easy. Donate, volunteer, signs, vote, and pray. And we do these 5 things, and we will win again just like we did in 2021. And we will hold our House and flip our Senate. And hold our House and flip our Senate. Listen, let me just ask you a question. Do you feel it? You can feel the spirit of Virginia washing over the Commonwealth. You can feel it in Loudoun County. Folks, it's real. And what this is not just us. It's a connection that we have to generations of Virginians before us and generations after us. And it ties back to these shared values, these universal truths, which embed Virginia in the history of our nation and put her at the future of our nation's future. This is what it's all about. I mean, listen, I go to work every day in a building called the Patrick Henry Building. What a gift it is. And I'm reminded every day of Patrick Henry as serving the most amazing role of the voice of freedom. And these folks, when they win and we have a majority in our House and a majority in our Senate, are going to be working in our Capitol building, which was designed by Thomas Jefferson, the pen of freedom. And sitting at the heart of that building in the rotunda is the most amazing statue of George Washington. George Washington, the sword of freedom. And folks, when you string all those together, you can't help but be brought to your knees like I am every morning and thanking the Lord for placing me in this role and then asking him for help. Because we have to live up to those standards of being the voice and the pen and the sword. The voice who said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Patrick Henry understood. He understood that there's nothing more important than liberty and freedom, not even life. And liberty and freedom are at the heart of the life that God has ordained for us. And Thomas Jefferson penned those most immortal words in this hemisphere, the most immortal words that today still underpin everything we stand for, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And these are rights that are not granted to us by a king or a dictator. They're rights that are handed down to us by an almighty Creator. Folks, this is Virginia. This is America. And these are the rights that we have bestowed upon us. And finally, George Washington understood that while these rights are handed down by God Almighty, we have to defend them and extend them. And the sword of freedom stood up, and he battled on a battlefield with brave men and won our victory at Yorktown. Folks, today we are the voice, and we are the pen, and we are the sword. And we have work to do, because as the voice, the pen, and the sword, our work is at the elections tomorrow to show up, to vote, to make sure we get out 10 friends, because elections have consequences. And here is our chance to make sure that we finish the great work that we started in 2021. The great work to unleash unbridled opportunity for our kids, for this generation, for the next generation, to make Virginia that shining city on the hill that we know she must be. We are on the path there. We are running towards it. But folks, in order to get all the way there, in order to get Virginia into overdrive, in order to fully unleash that unbridled opportunity, we have to hold the House and flip the Senate. Hold the House and flip the Senate. Hold the House and flip the Senate. And I'm going to add one more thing. Elect a new school board in Loudoun County. Friends, let's get this done. It's time to win.